Hello, and welcome to Mindset Mastery. Unlock your power for life transformation. This is Tyra Jarvis. I'm the founder and president of Kefi Coaching, and I work with individuals and leaders facing career and life transition, certainly a time of uncertainty. And I work with them to find more freedom, fulfillment, and fun on a daily basis. And I love the work that I do. And especially now, what I've discovered for myself and working with others is that mindset is a critical success factor at any time, and especially at times with uncertainty. So, for those of you that have attended one of my live webinars previously, thank you so much for your support and for your participation and your attendance. I really appreciate it. And in this special edition, what I'm intending to offer is a little bit more in-depth conversation around the results transformation cycle and the results pyramid and the role that mindset plays in that. And I'm also looking to create a space where it can just be more personal, and I'll be speaking to you one-on-one. So with that, let's get a little started here. So a little bit about me. I have transitioned, I think I've counted 5 times in my career, from admin to blue collar to white collar to a retiree to contracting and consulting, and now a business owner. And with every one of those steps, mindset has played a key role and really a defining moment at certain stages, and whether I would have continued with my vision and my goal for the future. And in my personal life as well, I've transitioned several times from being single to married to divorced to single to married to widowed and now single again. And with those relationship transitions and social transitions, they also play a big role with mindset, and mindset can be a determinant as well. So right now, what's critical and top of mind for everybody is the pandemic. And what I find with the pandemic is that, yes, we've been dealing with this in various stages of the globe, us here in the States, probably since the first of the year, here in California since March. And what I distinguished pretty early on is that the only certainty is uncertainty. And I had witnessed it myself. I mean, I didn't expect my husband to get cancer. I didn't expect him to die of cancer. There was certainly stress and anxiety and uncertainty during those times. And I think people that have lost jobs or failed at businesses, had different kinds of personal and professional failures or successes, or dealt with different kinds of uncertainty. Certainly, the economy has played a role through cycles. Depending on your age, you've probably lived through many of them. But what's unique about this one is that we're all being affected in some way by the same cause of uncertainty. And we all have a varied way of how we're being affected. For some, unfortunately, people have gotten sick, maybe lost their life, maybe lost the life of a loved one. For those that maybe are just aware of people, now our lifestyle has changed and we go to work differently, we go to school differently, we relate, we socialize differently. There's all different kinds of things that have affected us, but what's in common is this cause of uncertainty, and what's not so common is our response to the uncertainty. And what I've been able to distinguish, again, looking at the successes, is that there's some particular attributes that are in play right now, but that have always been in play, that cause someone to move forward and thrive in the uncertainty and see it as a game changer and reinvent themselves or re-engineer themselves. Or not doing so will part ways, and they'll see it'll be a missed opportunity, and they might not get that opportunity again. So you want to know that uncertainty is life's constant stream of new events and challenges. And we're going to be talking about how you respond to them, and what role your mindset plays in seeing possibility and opportunity in your response to whatever it is you're confronted with, whether it's the pandemic or an effect of something that's coming from the pandemic, maybe job loss, job uncertainty, health uncertainty, whatever it might be. It's going to be a skill set that you will be able to continue to use beyond the pandemic for sure. So what are those success attributes? Well, you need to stay positive, and that's really hard with all this fear and anxiety caused by the uncertainty. But if you're not positive, you can't see possibility and you can't see opportunity. You're kind of bogged down in fear and anxiety, and it doesn't allow you to see what could be possible. And what it's going to take is creative, can do solutions to problems. And you can't do that without being positive. And you want to have a clear vision so that decision making is easy, that you're not kind of intimidated or kind of paralyzed in fear and not making decisions. So you want to be just looking at the fact that you need solutions to problems that didn't exist before, and the solutions may not have existed. And to be able to see those, you need to be positive and clear and creative. And you need to be willing to take action. So it's going to take some courage. And this whole confident, clarity, confidence, courage, and community, people that can help you have the courage to move forward and take action, is going to be a differentiator for sure. And where I saw this play out, in a variety of situations, but I mean, I love the thought that there's really signs everywhere. You can see them, you can hear them, and you can witness them and actually be a sign yourself if you're pursuing creative solutions to problems. Early on in the pandemic, a team of third grade teachers took it upon themselves to decide what curriculum they were going to deliver virtually. They didn't wait for administration to tell them what they were going to do. And they were able to do that. I get that not everybody was able to do that, but the children didn't suffer because they were in school right away. And it might have been different, but it was because of that community mindedness and that creativity that allowed them to do that. I serve as the president of a nonprofit board of directors right now, and that organization services survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking. And what I got to witness as an observer, and also as a participant, is how staying positive and focused and creative and exploiting opportunities and being in action really made a difference for us. So early on in March 21st, we had our major fundraiser planned. And that's where we make most of our donations around unrestricted funds. We're pretty much grant dependent, and there's a lot of restrictions around those, but this is our source of that. And I think on March 11th, the executive director and I were meeting, and it was a casual conversation. Well, what do you think we should do about the dance? Now, this is usually a live event, 400 people, all the hoops and whistles about a fundraising event and gala. And I said, just see if we can find another date. And so she went and found a date in July that would possibly work for us. And then she reached out to some of our sponsors just to see if they would be willing to roll their sponsorship. And one of our key sponsors, Jason from Clipper Creek, asked her what she needed. And she said she needed these funds because it was our only access to unrestricted funds. And he made a promise of a $40,000 grant if we could raise $40,000 by March 31st. So it's like March 12th. We had an emergency board meeting. Everybody was on board. He donated his marketing team to help us with the branding and the messaging. And on Friday the 13th, we launched a social media campaign, basically, about this match and the fact that not everyone was safe at home during this time where we were being at home. Survivors and victims of domestic violence and sexual assault and human trafficking are held captive, and they can't leave, and they're not going to work, and they're not having visible signs where somebody could get involved and ask, are you okay? And they weren't able to call because they didn't have access to the phone. So we were very concerned and needed this money for whenever we were going to be able to go back to some sense of normalcy around this. Well, we did a few other things, but my point to you, and as a student of business and now of this process on what it takes, is that we had complete alignment between all the stakeholders. We had a dedicated focus, a clear message, very passionate message, and we utilized social media, then we utilized our email system, then we did a direct mailing campaign. And I'm going to tell you, from Friday the 13th till April Fool's Day, we raised $42,000 on our own, and we qualified for the match. And the thank you calls that we took at that time to reach out to everybody was so committed to being able to make a difference and be able to contribute to somebody, no matter how small. They knew that this was something they could take control over, which is really one of the next big messages, is what do you do in a situation like that? Well, I hope those two examples kind of showed you how staying positive despite the circumstances and recognizing that you're bigger than the circumstances, and really looking at it for what's true, what is really true, and not go to the doomsday prophecy despite all the news and the social unrest and the different things that are going on there. If you can really look to see what's really true about this, for me, is I'm working from home and I need to protect myself and my family, and I need to protect myself with distance, and I need to honor the concerns that everybody has about the health, but I don't need to sit at home and watch the news and get more stressed and upset. I can still continue to be productive and do things that are going to work for me. I can walk, and I can eat healthy, and I can do things that I enjoy. And that's pretty much what I'm here to say, is that you really need to look at what's true for you and detach any emotion, value, and fear from that, and identify what you can control. And, another couple of examples, and it was really just by coincidence that at the start of the year, I decided that I was going to do more online virtual work. I had done some live workshops last year and I loved them, but I wanted to be able to reach a broader audience and not be geographically restricted to who I was actually able to help and to serve. And I had scheduled a webinar, in March, and two small groups of communities, very distinct. One was a community of executive directors of social benefit corporations or nonprofit corporations. And the other was a group of women professionals, and they were looking for some goal setting support, is basically what I kicked it off as. But it launched right at the start of COVID. And both of these groups became the community that these people relied on, and my facilitation, to help them see their positivity and to recognize where they might have had a limiting belief that was thwarting them. And so in the executive director community, it was, how do I meet with my board virtually? How do I deal with my staff? Some of them were dealing with summer school programs, and they were dealing with programs that were completely upended. And it was the support from this group that really helped them. And in the case of the women's group, what I would say is some of them, because of the focus in the community, they attributed it all to the being in the group, and some of the structures that we put in place to support them allowed them to actually be able to produce more than they said they would. One of the ladies, who actually was a COVID survivor, had made promises for the end of the year. She completed those promises by the end of June. Another lady wanted to launch a podcast. She did that. Somebody wanted to get a dog. They did that. People were somebody wanted to move. 2 people moved, actually, if I'm not mistaken. And then another business owner actually created 3 major new customers during this time of March to April. So, but it was a community, standing on the shoulders of a community, where you could really shine a light on what your beliefs were and what your possibilities were being, surfaced for you, and what it would take to really take even just the smallest action one at a time. And this Tony Robbins quote is really key as well. It's never about your resources, it's about your resourcefulness. And so these are things that you can do, but you can't do it without mindset that's not healthy. And I'm not saying that there isn't a lot of reason to be emotional and be fearful. And in fact, 2 or 3 of the women in the women's group were embarking on career changes and looking for new jobs. And if you wanted to look, you could see a ton of reasons not to go looking for a job right now. The market, nobody's got money, nobody's hiring, unemployment is high. But if you really set that aside and went looking for where are people hiring, you would find that some businesses were still at work. Some businesses were thriving. Some were looking for people. That might not have been maybe exactly what you were looking for, but we tend to put a filter on what we think we're going to see. And so if you went out there thinking there's nobody going to be hiring, that's all you're going to see. That's all you're going to hear. That's the role that mindset plays. And what I would also say is that if you can open yourself up to setting kind of this fear and anxiety and these limits aside, you'll start to see some possibility. Now you have to go deep. You have to go inside to listen for it. You have to listen for it. You have to look for it. And you have to choose for yourself, or you won't be inspired to do what it's going to take, because it's going to take something. And you want to align with what's really so, what's true, and put all your emotions and your energy into that. And so again, you've got clarity, some confidence, you can get some courage, make some commitments around the actions that you're going to take. And then one step at a time, one baby step at a time. Let's say it's health. You can't eat the elephant all in one bite, right? So, but you could do a micro habit. You could say, I'm going to sleep better. Maybe the stress of things isn't going to allow you to sleep better. I'm going to drink my water. I'm going to hydrate, or I'm going to exercise. And if I can't go to the gym, I'm going to walk, or I'm going to run, or I'm going to ride a bike. Being outside is one of the best things that you could do. So whatever little thing that you could do, is when you want to try to be able to do that. And each little action is going to help to develop the muscle and the propensity to be able to take the next right action, and the next right action, and the next right action. So this is the results pyramid, and it helps me to convey a couple of different training concepts that I've been exposed to. One of them from Landmark Education is the be, do, have model, where you have be on the left, do in the middle, and right, and the right would be have. And so you start in the future, or to have something in the world, you unfold backwards. You have to be willing to do something, and that's going to be actions and behaviors and habits, right? And to do something, you have to be a certain way. This is where the mental and emotional state that you're in has such a critical role. And beliefs and thoughts are part of your mental state, and your emotions are your emotional state. And there's a continuum here. So your beliefs, limiting or powerful, drive your thoughts, and your thoughts drive your emotions, and your emotions influence. So it's all of it now, but influence how you're being in the world, and how people are responding to you, and how you see possibility or not. And that drives what actions you're going to take, and how you're going to behave in the world. And that, I'm going to tell you, is going to generate the results that you have. So for me personally, I would say I focused most of my adult life in the behaviors and the actions and results. And I would say I compared myself to others, and I would say I want what they have. And I was being pulled somewhere, and none of it hurt me. Let me just say that. But it wasn't until recently, when I started this journey as a business owner and entrepreneur, that I started to really look at how I'd been stepping over my beliefs and thoughts, and maybe shoving down some of my emotions. And had I, and it just really wasn't the right time. It's the right time for me to work on this now. But had I done it earlier, who knows what might have been, my future might have been like. And don't get me wrong, I'm happy. I love what's going on right now. But a lot of it is because I've recognized this strong foundation is needed. And when you focus on that, you can't without taking care of yourself. And, we've heard work-life balance and keeping the juggling balls in the air, and, all these kind of metaphors about how it is to, be busy and do stuff. But it's the doing that causes us to get distracted from the influence that our beliefs and thoughts are playing on us. And you want to know that if they're not as powerful and as empowering as they can be, the actions you see to take are going to be different. And they may lead to a result, and maybe lead to success, but you don't know what's possible for yourself until you see what a really powerful belief system and a really strong mental state can do for you. So one of the phrases that I've loved is control of self, because if we're accurate about ourselves and what's going on right now, every system is being challenged that we knew to be true, every one of them. I mean, it'd be bad enough if a computer upgrade was all you had to deal with, but no, we're dealing with upgrades, and a forced upgrade, if you will, in every system. And I was present to that in Vishen Lakhiani's book, The Code of the Extraordinary Mind. And he talks about the reality, this state of reality. And it's not possible to not have it shift and change. And some of the systems that we've inherited for 50 years or more, some of them even from the Industrial Revolution. And it's only now that we're starting to challenge, if we were accurate with ourselves, a lot of the stuff like commuting and air pollution and the environment has been in contention for a long time, but the systems didn't move. They were too strong and too rooted, but now we've had to look at all of them. And now we get to be the human contributors of our generation and look and go, what makes sense? You have to have a healthy mindset to be able to do that. And you have to take care of yourself to be able to do that. You know, our children are scared. If we're scared, our pets are scared, our children are scared, everybody's scared. So taking care of yourself and having a positive mindset is going to be critical. And in coaching, the word toleration just was a word to me until I did my coach training. But what I loved about the fact that it's tolerations that take us down. They zap our energy, our vitality. We endure them. We suffer through them. We struggle. There's something about tolerations. And to me, it takes up a psychic space, psychic real estate in your head, because even if you don't see them or think you're thinking about them, they're in your unconscious space. So I do a little assessment that looks at physical spaces. We look at the impact of clutter and file systems and organization and being organized and what that does to detract your focus and clarity. And we look at emotional health and well-being, which could be your physical health. It could be your emotional health. It could be things like meditating or maintaining an ideal body weight for yourself, or being flexible and having good balance, those kinds of things, and just taking care of yourself. And then we look at money. And if these same belief systems play out in money, if you've got a money operating system that's working and you have a goal that you want to have a certain amount of money for retirement, and yet you have spending habits that don't allow you to even achieve that goal, they're in opposition to one another, and you're tolerating less than what you want in this space, money, health, physical spaces, because you're doing things and you're tolerating things that maintain the status quo. And there's a reason for that. But when we started to look at the system around time and, to-do lists and crossing things off to-do lists and, being busy and maybe not working on what matters most or being focused on what matters most. And so we do a lot of work in my programs around your ideal week. We all have 168 hours. That's all we have every week. We all have the same amount. The most successful business owner, Bill Gates, has 168 hours. What does he do with his, right? What do I do with mine? Those are choices that you still own, if you allow yourself to own those choices and control yourself and control the choices that you make about how you're going to spend time. A lot of times scarcity conversations around time and money, I want to do that, but I can't because I don't have the time and I don't have the money. That is a mindset. Because time and money are tools. They're resources for you to have what you want. They're not intended to be limiters or regulators or restrictors, right? If you want something and you want it bad enough, you will find a way to find the money. You might take a second job. You might sell something. If you need the time, you will create space in your calendar to make sure that you have time for that to happen. So the practice is to really visualize what you want, have a compelling personal vision, and recognize what needs to happen, and then figure out how much time and money it's going to take to make it happen, and then go get those resources, whatever it's going to take. But that takes control of self, because what's going on in the background is your hardware. And your brain made you do it. I'm going to tell you, your brain made you do it. Dr. Philip Lipton quotes 95% of what's going on is going on in the unconscious. It's driving you in the reality space. It's driving your doing and your action and your behaviors and your results. And it's unconscious to you. You're not aware of it because you've got to do something to become aware of it. So 5% of your conscious mind is clear and present for you, right? So your brain, just part of being the species that we are, your brain is hardwired for survival, fear and worry. And it comes from prehistoric times. And we are a prehistoric animal that has managed to evolve. And I just want to say that that reptilian brain is still in effect. And these controlled or uncontrolled reflexes of fear and worry and survival are clearly in effect today. I used to be able to say we don't have any dinosaurs anymore. Well, guess what? We've got a real fear, a real threat outside our doors. And so it's only natural that we would have this survival mentality and mindset kick in. But if you want to have something different, you're going to have to control that to a certain extent. So your unconscious mind drives your emotions, your behaviors, your decisions, and your actions. And you want to make sure that it's choosing the ones that are in alignment with the results that you really genuinely say that you desire, that you want. And your brain reinforces what we already believe. I kind of mentioned it with the job search example. If you don't think they're hiring, you're going to have a filter that's only going to look for news that's consistent with that, for indicators that are consistent for that. You're going to be waiting for them. You're not going to be looking for what else could be on the horizon or available to you. And so we don't see things as they are. We see things as we are. So unless we become healthy and unless we work on our mental state, we're going to see things the same way that we've always seen them. And you want to take a stand, and that means you're unwilling to deviate from it. You're relentless. You're not going to let anything stop you from protecting your mental state. And that's going to be your access to not only surviving, but thriving. This Tony Robbins quote, I handpicked it for sure because I thought this is so key. Because the path, I was a technician at one point. I dealt with electricity, and the path of least resistance is to ground, right? So this is it. This is the example in life. There is a highway of up to upset and a dirt road to happiness. And we pick the path of least resistance unless we're willing to prepare ourselves to tackle the dirt road and really have the courage to pursue the happiness that we really want. So brain science is what you'd want to look at if you really are fascinated by this. There's neurosciences that scientists that look at this. And I think that's what really critical here is the fact that you can control it, but you have to control it by working on your unconscious mind and really tapping into what's going on there and becoming aware of its effect on you. Okay? So your mindset, as I mentioned, are your beliefs, your thoughts, your memories, painful memories from the past, painful, happy, whatever they are. Your memories are locked in this code, this hardware system code, programs, practices, habits, all of those are part of your mindset. In the belief space, we've talked a little bit about some of the limiting ones. Some of the more popular ones is, I can't do that. Can't. Can't is another word for won't. So what will you do is the opposite. But what you need to see is it's not that you can't, there isn't anything you can't do if you're willing to do what it's going to take. So it's really, I won't do that because I'm not willing to do what it's going to take. But if you're willing, now you're talking, right? But other limiting beliefs might be, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm trying to stay safe, I don't want to embarrass myself, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to do it. I've already kind of talked a little bit about time and money scarcity, but this idea and know-how, I would catch myself in a couple of instances, and they were pretty intense, and I would say, I don't know what to do. What happens when I don't know what to do? And I would be panicked, literally panicked. But in reality, if I looked at it, whenever I was confronted with a situation where I had gone someplace and done something I'd never done with people I didn't know or whatever, I had success as a result of that because I always had the capability of figuring it out, figuring out something to do, one small action, whatever that would be. And there's never a shortage of ideas. And now with the internet, you can find a solution in the snap of a finger. So scarcity is one of the limiting beliefs that allows us to see a non-abundant life and a non-abundant world. And there's massive abundance available. It might not feel like it all the time, but that's down in that foundational level again. And it's not feeling that way because you have a limiting belief or memory or something that's telling you to feel that way. To feel less than, to feel lack, to feel scarcity, to feel that it's not yours to have. And so it's really back in this mindset and this foundational block of the results pyramid that's going to help you make a difference. So how do you talk to yourself? Are you telling yourself, oh, they're not going to want to know what you have to say, and so you don't contribute, and then you withhold, and then the team is, the results is diminished because you didn't get your contribution out there, because you might have been afraid that somebody was going to laugh at you or embarrass you or whatever. And these judgments, where do those come from? Well, I'm going to tell you, we inherited them. Most of them came from childhood age. When we had to go socially, leave the family nest and go socially and start to deal with peer pressure. And then they start to play out. And again, those filters come into play, and you line yourself up with people and things that are going to reinforce those. This might be the best time to mention this. So there was a LinkedIn post this past weekend, and it had a visual of people in a cage, and the caption read, "If your circle of friends are not inspiring, then you don't have a circle, you have a cage." And it coincided, and it reminded me of the Jim Rohn quote that says that you're the average of the 5 people you're closest to and spend the most time with. So one of the benefits of surrounding yourself with inspiring people that can be a stand for you, and a stand for you having what you say you want, is they're not as emotionally attached to these limiting beliefs and negative self-talk. And they're going to hear it, and they're going to be able to point it out to you, because you might be tone deaf to it. You might not even know that it's there, or you might be so comfortable with it that you don't see a need to change it. But if you've got an accountability partner or a peak performance partner or some kind of system with these people, or you're in a group or a network with people that are where you want to be, not where you're at, where you want to be or where you're going, and so you have all of that in common, those people are going to help you shift and break up some of the sludge, if you will, in your mindset, for sure. So your beliefs and your power. Yeah, your beliefs are your power. And your beliefs determine your destiny. There are hidden scripts. I mentioned that before. They're running your life. Are they the right hidden scripts for you? Are they ones that are serving you? Your beliefs create your behavior, and that has a consequence. Your behavior is going to impact and influence the results that you produce, the people that you meet, the things that you do, the experiences that you have. If they're limited in any way, the root cause of it is going to be a limiting belief in some way. I'm certain of it. And just know that beliefs are a choice, and choices can change. And you get to drive that. You are the driver of the bus. You are the architect of your career, of your life. So you get to do that and change a belief, and you can change everything, everything. So why would we stay stuck? Well, fear of the unknown, not wanting to invest, not being willing to change, not being ready to change, not being confident to change. Those are all some kinds of mindset things. There could be skills that are missing. You could have a skill gap, and it's going to take something to learn a new skill. You're too old to learn a new skill. You're too old to start a business. Nobody's going to hire somebody 30 because they don't have any, whatever those beliefs are that'll cause you to stay stuck and not put your best foot forward. There's an opportunity cost for that. And the opportunity cost of staying stuck is, if you have dreams, they're not going to be fulfilled. You're going to live this life, which it's not a dress rehearsal. It's the show. You're here. You're in the game. You're in the big leagues. But if you're not on the court, or if you're not on the field and you're not playing, your dreams are at risk. Your health and well-being, because there's extra stress and overwhelm as a result of that. And that's going to be impacted. You might choose not to be fully productive or perform at your best level because you've got these thoughts going on in your head that are distracting you from performing at your highest level. And that could impact you getting maybe a promotion or a new job or a different job. And it could impact any potential pay raises around it. So staying in healthy relationships, heaven forbid, if you're staying stuck in a relationship that's not healthy, you're preventing yourself from learning how to have a healthy relationship and protecting that. And The effects of this is being frustrated, stressed, overwhelmed, exhausted, depleted, depressed. The sleep factors, you worry, you don't sleep, you grit your teeth, you grind your jaw, you clench your jaw. You're just physically not in a good space. And so there's no energy, vitality, and zest for life. And so people that aren't stuck may not want to spend time with you. And so you miss the opportunity of some vibrant relationships that could make a difference for you. And the only way to really shift this is to make a commitment that I'm ready to get unstuck. I'm confident, or I'm going to get confident how to get unstuck. And I'm going to learn the skills that are necessary to be able to do that so I can take the actions. And it's little micro steps. It's not these big global, these big grandiose steps that you have to take. But it's going to take a reboot or an upgrade of your hardware system and the systems that you operate with. I mean, I'm learning a new email system now. It's hard, but I know it's pushing things for me to be uncomfortable, because it'll open things up for me and it'll help me to have my learning muscle be more resilient and more effective and more productive, for sure. So what's in your mindset? Are you on the left side of the grid or the right side of the grid? Do you operate from fear? Do you react to things rather than plan? You have self-doubt, anxiety. You come from a place of scarcity. A lot of that's learned. We learned and inherited a lot of things from, all these systems have been inherited. We learned them from our family units. So our parents are walking around with us in our DNA, our school, how we learned from school, our culture, our heritage, our ancestry, all of those things, the people that we were around during those times set some code for us. And that could be normal for you, but is it really helping you get to where you want to go? So what is it going to take to be fearless and proactive and calm and hopeful and confident and strong and see possibility, not look at limitations and ask why not and say yes to things? I mean, those are the code of the entrepreneur, is to say yes and then go figure it out, right? So there can't be fear holding you back, or you're going to limit yourself and limit your getting your gift in the world out there. Solutions, very focused, optimistic, and it's really being driven from your own inspiration. When I thought about the results pyramid, I looked and I thought about an operating mindset for me was that I'm not good enough yet. I'm not baked yet. I mean, I've had every coach tell me, Tyra, you're baked, get out there, but I'm not baked yet. I'm comparing myself to this person. Well, what I learned is if you're comparing yourself outside yourself, it's your egoic mind, not your heart space, not your soul or your spirit, who has a purpose to fulfill. And it's your duty to try to figure out what that is. You have to look inside to do that. And it's inspiration. And so I'd be throwing money and time at programs and resources and all sorts of things to build more results and to do more things. And in reality, I wasn't inspired by those things. And so it really wasn't a good use of time or money, because it didn't really create the result that I wanted. Because what I discovered is that only when I was inspired, and that's a message, I want to say that comes from Ho'oponopono. And the gentleman's name escapes me right now, but Joe something, forgive me. But anyway, he says that you only do professional development and personal development when you're inspired. So if you're not inspired, don't do it. But the inspiration is going to come from connecting with your inner intelligence. So what mindset shift strategy, could I recommend? It's really going to, it's going to be a personal choice for sure. But we've kind of talked about listening for trust and your instincts, and meditate and pray and journal and whatever works for you. It doesn't have to be everything, just needs to be something that allows you to get quiet, be present now, and listen for what your spirit is trying to tell you. And then practice positive mindset. And that's going to be belief, self-talk, and the words and language that you use, how you talk to yourself. Treat yourself like your own best friend. And sometimes you're going to have to write these things down, because you might not even be present to how limiting and how I don't know, degrading is a hard word, but how limiting your beliefs are about yourself and your capabilities and who you are in the world. And I would just tell you that you weren't put on this planet and on earth to not be your fully actualized self. And, that's, Maslow's hierarchy of needs is, you get by the physical and the safety and the social. And now you get into realization and actualization, those top peers in the Maslow hierarchy of needs. I mean, I get that we're talking about that. And if you're fighting for a roof over your head or physical space or, living paycheck to paycheck, this may seem like it's out of reach, but these are the same kinds of things that can help you get out of any situation. And just know that you're not your circumstances. So, and the other thing that's interesting about adults is that we learn best by immersion. You want to learn how to speak Spanish, go to Mexico or go to Spain, live there for 30 days and really immerse yourself in the culture with the people and have to rely on the language. And you will learn it a lot quicker. It'll be fumbling, it'll be uncomfortable, it will be awkward. You will have to ask for help, which is a big one. You'll have to ask for help, but it's in the practice. Practice makes permanent. So if you're trying to learn a new mindset or trying to learn an actual hard skill, let's say, it's practicing it and forcing yourself to practice it and kind of turning your back on the familiar way of doing things so you have to do it. A couple of fun tricks to do would be, if you're right-handed, try to write left-handed. It's going to train your brain and other parts of your brain to work differently. And, if you are driving to work or you're going to the store or you're going on a trip, go a different way, take a different path. How many times do you get to the office or did you get to the office and go, I don't remember I don't remember driving here, because we're so unconscious about it, right? So just do things differently, mix it up. Yes, have routines, but don't let the routines get entrenched so that they start to become a limit for you, right? A long-term vision is critical. And what I want you to get is that you want to know where you're going, but you need to leave enough space to listen for new cues about how you're going to get there. That's not to say be flighty, be Teflon, don't be accountable for anything. No. What I'm saying is there's new opportunities being sent to you all the time. And if you're fixated on how you're going to get there, you're going to miss an opportunity to do it quicker, faster, better, with less money or whatever, because you're not going to see it. So you want to focus on what you want and what you desire, and just know that there's going to be other ways to get there, and you want to somewhat stay flexible on how that is, but you need to stay in action. And then this community, I can't say it enough. Those groups that I facilitated in the spring really made a difference for those people. And it allowed them to rely on each other and be real vulnerable and communicate. So whether you're in a group now or you're looking to get in a group, or you can create a group, you just want to know that it needs to be people that are going to be a stand for you being who you want to be. And it might be looking at those 5 people or looking at those people that are holding you in a cage and having to question whether they're the right people to get you where you really want to go. And this comfort zone thing is key. One of my big moves was when I sold my house and moved. And I really had not thought that was what I was going to do at all. But I was present to the fact that life begins at the edge of your comfort zone. And I had become too comfortable. I needed to get a little off balance. And I have coaches that I've worked with in the past. Allison Maslin does trapeze to push her comfort level. If she's got a tough work thing, she'll go out and challenge herself physically, because when you challenge yourself physically, it allows you to push your comfort zone, because it's still your mind-body connection. But when you move the mind when you do something physical that moves your mind is going to be moved in other areas of your life as well. Michael Burnoff does Tough Mudders. He does team ones, he does individual ones, because he knows he has to continually be fit and push himself and challenge himself so that he can still be successful at that. And he attributes that to him being as successful as he is in his business, because he gets comfortable being uncomfortable. There's a ton of examples out there. I mean, people that run triathlons and try to get to that endorphin state. I'm not saying everybody's using it beyond physical, but when you push the boundaries of your comfort zone, it moves your whole life forward, right? That's what it does. And this one here, life is short, time is precious, change will happen with or without you. So that's when I say it's either a game changer or a missed opportunity. You want to make sure that you're in charge, you've got the keys, and you want to take charge of how this is going to end for you. So, in support of community and creating a group around like-minded people, I'm looking for some people that are interested in another group program. I have created a 6-week mindset accelerator that's going to start on August 4th. It's going to be a group coaching format. It'll have an amazing supportive structure with some dynamite people that I think are looking for the same things. And you'll have a chance to master the results pyramid that we talked about. And we're going to use transformation accountability partners again because it was so successful. So you'll have somebody that can actually be a listening for you, being bigger than you know yourself to be, and being a stand for you having that. And this program, I think, can really, I know it can do it for people. If my group programs do it for me, they help hold you up, they put a structure in place, you get guidance, you get support, you get inspiration, you get resources, you get connections, people that know that 6 degrees of separation is in play all the time. People know the answers and the solutions to your problems, but you've got to be related to them and connected to them and have influence with them so that you can make asks, you know, to have them help you. But it's in a group format that you can really do that. So I have a special webinar offer here for you today. It's regularly $497. We're offering it for $327. I'm going to have an audio program called the Fulfillment Formula that you can have as a supplement to that. That's completely free. And the sign up is at tyrajarvis.com/mindset-group. So if you're looking for support in any way, highly recommend a group program. If it's not this one, find one for yourself. But I'm here to tell you, I've witnessed these group programs myself as well as a facilitator. This can be a game changer for you, especially now. And who would have thought, you know, when we were completing those first groups, I said, okay, let's just get ourselves complete through the end of June. Let's plan something for 90 days and let's get complete through the end of June. Well, guess what? It's August. It's not done yet. Nobody knows how long it's going to be. And I'm going to be the first person to tell you that compassion fatigue or fatigue in general, or just fatigue about the way life is right now, it's going to take even more. With each passing month, it's going to take more support, more success stories, more inspiration around how do we continue to move past enduring this and surviving it to really thriving at it. And I'm here to tell you, I believe if you're ready for some changes in your life and you're willing to do what might be necessary and you're committed and you have some confidence, or you want to get some confidence, this could be the right program for you. So give it a real serious thought. All right. So the results transformation cycle, this is what we're going to be covering in a little bit more detail, and a lot more detail in the group for sure. So it starts with desire. I'll come back to these, but then you go to taking your first steps, then building up some momentum and accelerating, and then you really start to see growth happen. And through growth is where you see transformation. And transformation is a change in behavior, and it could be any of your systems. It could be in any of the areas of your life. If something has shifted and changed, you've successfully transformed yourself. And this cycle is going to be applicable throughout the rest of your life, however old you are. So you want to get the fact that once you learn this, you'll be able to completely repeat this cycle, rinse and repeat, as we say in the business world, but you'll be able to continue to do it. And in the group, we're going to start with one thing and we're going to work through this system, and then you'll be able to use it for others. I still say community is going to be the changer, the game changer. So let's talk about desire. In the desired space, you need to know what matters most. So there's going to be some work assessing what that is for you and really getting some clarity around what's most important, what matters most. And then from there, why? Why does that matter most? I mean, John Assaraf, when I was listening to some of his programs at one point, and the healthy ideal body weight one resonated with me, and so that's what I was listening for. I think it was probably even a weight management program that I was listening to. But what I loved about it was that he said it's the why that's going to keep you in the game, right? Because we're going to get frustrated if you're focused on a certain number on the scale, or a certain event, or something outside yourself to make this change happen. It's shaky, it's vulnerable. Because once the scale doesn't show, I'll give you an example. Once the scale looks good and it looks good, I'll go splurge, right? I'll go sabotage myself. Or if it's not good, I'll beat myself up because I indulged or something, right? So, but it's the why, right? So when I had to look at the why, does it matter to me? Well, I want to be vibrant regardless of my chronological age. I want to be fit and flexible, and I want to have good balance. I don't want to fall. It's fall prevention for me. You have a good body weight, you have good muscle strength, you have some good balance. And the whole reason for that is to hang with younger people than me, as well as my peers, but more importantly is my granddaughters. I want them to have fun with me, and I want to have fun with them, and I want to be physically able to do that. Whether it's a piggyback ride or rolling around on the floor or dancing with them, whatever it is, that's my why. And when I face down another piece of chocolate cake or something else, that's the why. No, that's not consistent with what you're desiring. You've got to stop that. That's not a good micro habit. You know, it's kind of like giving up what you want most for what you want in the moment, right? That's one of those favorite quotes, right? So let's say you're clear on what matters most. You're going to pick an area that you're going to work on, and you're clear, really clear why you want this in your life. So now you got to take that first step. Well, I like to use the baby analogy in this, right? So, you know, they lay down, they're pretty prone, they don't do anything. We carry them around. You know, maybe the first thing, and I don't have natural children, but so I'm going to guess the next thing they do is maybe they sit up, they roll over, then they sit up, right? And then, you know, possibly they might stand, right? Kneel, stand, whatever. They crawl. I mean, there's a sequence to this. I'm really botching it up. But anyway, you get the gist of it. The point is they don't get up and start running. They go through a series of steps that get them to the place that they've got balance and they're confident and now they can run. So that's what's going to have to happen here. And as an adult, what I'm going to tell you, I would say even just like a toddler, they're constantly pushing it. They're reaching for things, and they're constantly moving their muscles and their reflexes, and they're constantly trying to get some things going here. And so the begin phase really starts with an assessment around, are you ready? Are you ready to have what you say you want? Because self-sabotage is real. Self-sabotage is real. And when I say that, it's real because we will avoid pain, we will avoid failure, and I'm going to say some of us even avoid success. Avoid success. Can you imagine that? And it's because we're afraid of what our life might change, or you know what's going to happen. What will that mean? It's more prevalent than you think. But you really need to know. We're going to know: are you ready? And then, are you confident? And we're going to look at some things around confidence and what will it take to be confident, right? And then, are you willing? Because willing is different than anything else. I will do this. There's a commitment to it. And being committed is what it's going to really take. And there's a difference between being interested and being committed. Being interested would be, I'll do it if it's convenient. You know, if it's not raining outside, I'll go do my workout. I'll go do my run. But if it's raining, no, I'm going to do it another day. Well, if you're committed, nothing is going to stop you. Nothing will stop. Now, granted, you can't do this for everything, but the things that really matter most, you need to be committed, and you need to increase the amounts of commitment that you have. And it's going to be the commitment and courage that's going to actually let you take that first step and actually take that jog and run and whatever that's going to be. And it's through that process that you start to accelerate. So Burnoff calls it mind over mattress, Because if you're laying in bed and you're hitting the snooze alarm and you're not getting up, and that could be anything from, you know, a 90-minute power jam to deliver a project, or it could be, you know, going out and getting your workout out of the way, or, you know, doing anything that you had scheduled to do that day, you're going to snooze. That's interested. Committed would be you'd get up no matter what. All right. So the more of that you do, the more practice you do of that, the more permanent it becomes, and you build on it. You start with small micro habits, and then you add and you add and you add and you add. And in the begin state, we're going to start small. It's going to be, what are you going to commit to for 3 days, 7 days, 14 days? And in the course of this 6 weeks, we'll get up to a longer period of time, but it's going to be added, you know, kind of gradually it's going to be added. So, but until you can accelerate and really start to run, you won't be able to see the real growth. And when you see growth, now you have the ability to do that, and it's going to bring some other things into fruition for yourself and transform and transform. So that's the results transformation cycle. And I hope if you have any questions, I'd love to hear them, and I'd love to know about it. And more importantly, I'd love for you to be in the group so that we can talk more about it and talk more specifically about how it might be able to help you get whatever it is that you desire. So let's just summarize a little bit. In my entrepreneurial training, when I first started with Allison Maslin, it was pretty clear. She says, mindset and self-care are the two things you never cross off your list. And I had to learn what that meant. And I'm going to say several years later, I'm finally getting it. I see it. I can't be who I need to be to do what I need to do unless I have a healthy mindset and I'm taking care of myself. And I can't take care of anybody else if I'm not taking care of me. That could be my family, that could be clients, whoever it is. We have to take care of ourselves. And then we have to be a stand for busting any stumbling blocks. Anything that's in your way, you want strategies for how to get around it and how to do it proactively, and not be a default way of being around blocks. Oh, well, I knew that was going to happen, or now it's too hard, or it's too tough. If you look, you'll find a way. And, you know, a breakdown would be an example of a block. And in my landmark training, a breakdown is just insufficient action to fulfill on a promise. If you had a promise to do something and you didn't finish it because of whatever reason, it was really just an action that was missing. And move the block aside and take the action that's called for and take care of it, right? And then I'm going to tell you, mindset's it. It's the critical success factor, no matter what industry you're in, no matter what sector you operate in, even if you're retired, even if you're, you know, just entering the workforce, if you're in school, mindset is going to help you. You know, this class of 2020s had to deal with some real, you know, unfortunate things. You know, celebrations that were really important to me when I was a senior in high school, you know, they didn't get those. But if you watch the creative schools, they found a way to still honor that threshold in their life. It's a positive mindset that's going to help you see those things for yourself. So which mindset shift strategy is going to work best for you? I mean, you get to choose, and you get to choose whether to shift or not. But I'm here to tell you that there's miracles on the other side of shifting, and there's fulfillment and joy and happiness and a much more peaceful, easy, graceful way of being in the world. And I want that for everybody. So the bad news is time flies. I think we all knew that. The good news is you're the pilot, and you get to decide where you're going and how you're going to spend that time. And I would encourage you to really think long and hard about what it is you want to create and what kind of support structure, guidance, and support might be helpful to you. And then find a way to ask for help and reach out and get it, and invest in yourself so that you can invest in others and help others and be the best that you can be. So this is the group program again, just to remind you, it will be, there'll be a Facebook group, a private Facebook group. We'll be recording the calls if you're not available. The calls are going to happen on Tuesdays from 11 to 12, from August 4th till I think September 8th. But they'll be recorded, so if you miss one or not available to make one, you can still listen to the recording. The recordings will be in the Facebook group. The team and the people that'll be in the community will be responding, so you can put questions in there. You can ask for help. You can ask for resources. You can seek support, share wins. It becomes a real positive, in the virtual space of things, it becomes a real positive way of encouraging and inspiring everybody to continue to be and create what it is that they're about. We'll be talking about the results pyramid. We'll be talking about the results transformation cycle. And we'll be doing that for 6 weeks. And again, the offer is here. It's good till August 4th, so $327, and you'll get the free fulfillment formula audio program. And you just need to go to tyrajarvis.com/mindset dash group. So I've provided what I believe is the essence of why I feel mindset is so critical and so important right now. And some examples of how it can really make a difference for everybody, how it's making a difference for some, and how it can make a difference for everybody. And I also think how being connected and being in community is one of the critical success factors to help you learn as an adult, grow as an adult, and practice when it's not comfortable, and get the encouragement that you need to do some things that you've never done before with people that you don't know, and that kind of stuff. So it's going to take being different, and that's going to be challenging. And I just think a group program like this can possibly be the solution. I'd take a sword for that one, but just know that this was the foundational information, and you're on your way to mindset mastery, or at least having some awareness around it. So next step would be to align what's going on in your space around getting mindset mastery, and then taking some acknowledgement and commitment around what actions you're going to take to do some things differently that you think need to be done. And it could be a simple way of communicating with people. It could be in any of the areas of your life: health, work, your money space, your relationship space, lifestyle, what you do for leisure time with the limited choices that we have. So just know that I'm here for you, and I would love an opportunity to help guide you through to your next transformation, whatever that is for you, whatever matters most to you. I want to help you get there. All right. So take care, have a good one, and thank you for your time. I appreciate it.